This is the first of a series of videos on the subject of decision making under deep uncertainty, more easily referred to as DMDU. Deep uncertainty is a critical challenge in long-term decision making, and it arises from the complexity of predicting future technological, economic, and social developments. Examples include climate change, mega scale infrastructure projects, and rare events like natural disasters or financial crises. The predict then act paradigm that we're most used to is insufficient for dealing with deep uncertainty. The monitor and adapt paradigm emphasizes the need to prepare for uncertain events and adapt over time as knowledge is gained. Now, this approach is crucial for making robust decisions under deep uncertainty. As a couple of examples of the difficulties of making predictions about complex projects over long periods of time, these were the predicted levels of passenger traffic for the Channel Tunnel before it was opened, going back to 1980. And you can see all of the lines except the actual line, which is the thicker, darker line down towards the bottom right. All of the predictions from experts in the field were way off. On a similar vein, we have an excerpt from Time magazine, 1966, that confidently predicted by the year 2000, so 24 years ago now, machines will be producing so much that everyone in the US will, in effect, be independently wealthy. This is one of the earlier references to the idea of universal basic income, which at the time of this video is still yet to come to pass. So for the purposes of DMDU, we look at 4 levels of uncertainty. So level 1, known uncertainties with little need for explicit measurement. Level 2, probabilistic uncertainties, but these can be described statistically. Level 3, scenario uncertainties with a limited set of plausible futures. So these are harder to predict, but there's a handful of ways that they might pan out in the future, which makes them somewhat easier to analyse and prepare for. And level 4 are deep uncertainties, where the future is highly unpredictable and may involve black swan events. Each level of uncertainty requires different approaches and tools. Level 4 uncertainties are the most challenging and require innovative methods like scenario discovery and exploratory modelling. There are many different approaches to DMDU. These are some of the most common. Robust decision making uses computation to stress test strategies over a myriad of plausible paths looking into the future. Dynamic adaptive planning, DAP, involves adapting plans over time based on new knowledge. So something you might be familiar with anyway, but have never given it a label, such as DAP. Dynamic Adaptive Policy Pathways, or DAPP, focuses on identifying adaptation tipping points. Info Gap Decision Theory, IG, aims to optimize robustness to failure under deep uncertainty. Engineering Options Analysis, this assigns economic value to technical flexibility. All rather wordy, might be somewhat difficult to follow, but the important thing here is that each approach has its theoretical foundations and its own set of steps to follow. The idea being they help decision makers navigate deep uncertainty effectively. And of course, each one has its own trade-off with pros and cons. Key steps of DMDU approaches, regardless of which technique you use, first of all, you need to frame the analysis. So you need to define the problem that you're trying to solve. You need to set the boundaries of the system or systems that you're working with. What are your objectives and what are the policies in place? Next step is to perform exploratory uncertainty analysis. So specify some uncertainties and explore those outcomes using models or expert opinions. choose initial actions and contingent actions, select initial policies and plan for the future adjustments. Next step is to iterate and re-examine, so you continuously monitor and adapt your policies as new information becomes available. So these elements are crucial for systematically addressing deep uncertainty. As with a lot of the futures thinking techniques that we've looked at, this is not a one and done process. This is to be done repeatedly over the long term. So in conclusion, decision making under deep uncertainty, or DMDU, requires a shift from the traditional predict then act paradigm. There are various approaches available to support robust decision making, and continuous learning and adaptation are key to navigating deep uncertainty. If this didn't make a huge amount of sense, that's perfectly fine, and that's why this is the first of a series of videos on DMDU. This one is to introduce you to theoretical frameworks and some of the terminology that you'll be exposed to, and in the next 2 or 3 videos we'll take a deeper dive into DMDU, see how it is applied in some real case studies, and also see how it might be useful for you in your organisation. So I hope to see you in the next video.